It's dead, it's a scam, and it's going to zero. It's Flesh and Blood, and for all those reasons, the sales were up 170% in June over May. Welcome back to Final Trade for the June update to Flesh and Blood sales on TCG Player. So, just raw boxes. Welcome to Wraith and Crucible of War were flat. Not very surprising. It's only going to be a little bit of interest in those. I only follow the unlimited versions of these first three sets because the first edition versions are too expensive and the volume is too low. What did surprise me this month was that the Arcane Rising box sales fell, while at the same time the price of the box fell by about $15. So it's very surprised by that. Now, Monarch First Edition, 125,000 box print run. It is nothing. The Magic the Gathering Unlimited Edition print run was 10 times larger than that. So, as the prices of these boxes fell from 155 down to about 120 over the course of the month, the smart investor stepped in and said, hey, you want to give me a good rare product on sale? I'm going to buy it. And the sales of that box went up 125% over the previous month. And you can see the cheap version of Monarch went down. So it was not some, format warping combo that was figured out or synergy or anything else. It was the investors stepping in because the prices are too low. Card stores are selling their winners to recoup capital and try to survive the summer. Tales of Aria, both versions, very modest gains. And Everfest down again, like you'd expect. The pre-order season and then into release, and you expect it to decay every month. That's the same thing we see with Magic. Now, History Pack Volume 1 fell by nearly 50%. I'm not terribly surprised by that. Like I've said before, History Packs are not really a product for players. They're a product for card stores who may have otherwise lost faith in Flesh and Blood over Channel Fireball's games and just need a little bit of convincing to put something Flesh and Blood back on the shelf. And there's another channel on YouTube called RNG Games. It's a gentleman who operates a card store in New Jersey, and he said it himself that he just wasn't going to carry Flesh and Blood anymore because it doesn't sell well enough. And that's the kind of unfortunate thing that History Pack Volume 1 is designed to try and mediate. So it's also designed in its French, German, Italian, and Spanish versions to help penetrate deeper into the European market. So Uprising had its first month of full release, but only 1 week of it, and pre-release plus that first month only sold 2,200 boxes compared to Everfest pre-release and first month was 4,800. Now, the difference was Everfest released on February 1st, so then it had all the rest of February to rack up this huge number. Uprising released on June 24th, so it only had 1 week to help pad the number out. So I'm going to give it one more month to see before we can try to draw any conclusions into whether or not Everfest is a better performer than Uprising. We'll have to wait and see. But because of that, Uprising looks just incredible, as if it sold 12, 13 times as many boxes. Well, yeah, because it was in partial pre-release back in May, and then full pre-release and full release in June. You can see the Uprising box number jumping up here for June, the same way that Everfest did during its release month. Everything else looks pretty flat. This is becoming a wild mess, and Google Sheets is okay for these kind of analyses and data manipulation and things like that when you don't have too much. I'm really thinking about getting a personal use license for MATLAB because it's just a much better tool than Google Sheets. And when it comes to MATLAB, I'm not just a wizard, I am a planeswalker. So the revenue numbers for the month, everything pretty much decayed, only in the cases where box sales numbers were up enough to adjust for the drop in prices did you see things in the green here. And everything went down in price. Every single sealed Flesh and Blood product went down in price in June over May. So I put History Pack Volume 1 and Uprising in what I am calling third-gen releases. Has the community kind of adopted a better name for that yet? I'm kind of treating History Pack as basically like Magic treats core sets, just reprints of good cards that they want players to have good access to. And so I'm kind of lumping this in as the beginning of the third-gen releases and putting it on this plot so these don't become too crowded too. So going forward into this month, I expect prices to remain weak. I expect the smart investors to keep buying. Arcane Rising is down in price. Well, everything's down in price. Arcane Rising is down quite a bit. It's the red line here, and you can see how much it's dropped. Crucible of War dropped a little, and of course, I still believe there is less Crucible of War Unlimited in existence than we think. So I would just look to keep buying slowly, especially that Monarch First Edition. The attitude around it is so negative and so wrong. It's going to be a great performer going forward. And in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we'll chuckle about that 125,000 box print run and how little that turned out to be. So let me know what you think. Any other data that's out there that I could incorporate into this? Any other things you think I might be able to tease out of it? Let me know. Otherwise, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade. Thanks a lot.